Well, this is an old song, and this is one I wrote for my mother. She called and asked me one day, your father and I are filling out some paperwork, and she said there's a clause in there if you die before we do. So I went and thought about this thing, and I dealt with it the only way I could, and that was in a song. And I called her and I said, Mom, you got 3 minutes? And she said, yeah. So I wrote her this song, and it's called Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die. Now don't you love my gray-haired mother? Walk stumbling, crying all alone, all alone. Just put my ashes in an urn and put on a train, sitting back to my old Virginia home. Yeah, you roll me up and smoke me when I die. Roll me up and smoke me when I die. Well, it could be tobacco, it could get you high. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. Now don't you sit around and weeping, telling tales about how great I was, great I was. Just gather round and have some drinks and party out loud. And remember that's the way it was, that's the way it was. Yeah, you roll me up and smoke me when I die. Roll me up and smoke me when I die. Well, it could be tobacco, or it could get you high. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. Now, no, this is just my way of saying, don't keep me hanging around just for show, just for show. You just put my ashes in an urn and put 'em on a train, and you send 'em back to my old Virginia home. Yeah, you roll me up and smoke me when I die. Roll me up and smoke me when I die. Well, it could be tobacco, or it could get you high. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. Roll me up and smoke me when I die, when I die. Roll me up and smoke me when I die. Well, it can be tobacco, or it can get you high. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. Here we go. Roll me up and smoke me when I die. Roll me up and smoke me when I die. Well, it can be tobacco, or it can get you high. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. One more. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. Big finish. Just roll me up and smoke me when I die. So I wrote that song for my mom. It's also kind of a joke. It's kind of like mixing, you know, bluegrass music and dope culture and modern things all together, and it's lighthearted in that sense too, as an artistic joke as well as an actual joke in the lyrics, and it always makes me laugh. That song is never tired for me. I love it. So. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Let me tell you about my story. Let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. I didn't know I was going to be Waffle Housing today. This is good. Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, my daily life anymore, I just try to avoid it because I just look at it. If you ate like this every day, you'd be dead. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. But Waffle Houses are a tough place late at night. You know, there's a zillion people, and everybody's trying to get the same eggs and the same bacon at the same time, and the waitresses are understaffed, and they're overworked, and they're underpaid, and the cooks are killing themselves, and nobody can get what they want, and the frustration level goes through the roof, and then the Waffle House becomes a human circus, you know? Everybody's dancing, and there's maneuvers, and people are staring at each other's girlfriends, and, you know, they're snatching ketchup off each other's tables because they're not getting it from the waitress, and you know, and then I always find myself like the huge dancing bear in the middle of that, you know, and, you know, doing this great parlay, you know, and I'm dancing around and, you know, and I become a character in this whole Waffle House scenario, you know, and it's true though, it's absolutely true, you know, and I always joke about, you know, being like in a carnival, and this is it. Waffle House any time of the day is a circus. You guys, just our little incident here today with Lynn and her retina, and you know, plugging in the, you know, we're immediately hit with a physical anomaly. You know, we walk in and all of a sudden there's people with no fingers serving us, and you know, people with eye problems, and you know, there's, you know what I mean? It's just a whole series of things that lead to the Waffle House experience. I don't think you can get it anywhere else. I don't think you can get it anywhere else in not even the Majestic, our icon of redneck chic deluxe here in Atlanta. It just doesn't compare to a late night or even a daytime Waffle House experience. And you know, I think they actually cruise the carnival circuit looking for employees, you know. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. This is where I do my best singing right here. Isn't that weird? And I walk from right where Shawn is. I walk over, you know, just back and forth. You know, I pace. That's why it always seems to me so strange that we stand in front of microphones, because like I don't stand in here like and go, ma, you know, I move. I just move constantly. I walk around, sometimes in my underwear, which is not a very pretty sight, but it sure is fun. So. Ain't got a friend in this world. Baby, it ain't you. You can never do the things that make me feel so blue. Yeah, I'm thinking about my dog. The years of hazy fog and the sunlight has faded away. Sadness and the gloom sometimes fills the room. Walks across me waves. 911 is all you need. 911 is all you need. Driver, take me uptown so I can see what's getting my lover down. Driver, take me uptown so I can see what's getting my lover down. Downtown, taxi, bus, or train. Downtown, taxi, bus, or train is playing. Go that way, and everybody cried and everybody sighed. Oh, what a day. Now I'm thinking about you there, traveling in the air, and it's breaking me down. I will never do, you will never do, like here on the ground. Yeah, 911 is all you need. 911 is all you need. Driver, take me uptown so I can see what's getting my lover down. Driver, take me uptown so I can see what's getting my lover down. Downtown, taxi, bus, or train. Downtown, taxi, bus, or train is playing. Songs out, people like them and they think they're real cute and oh, that was really nice and that was real boppity, you know, but they don't really listen to it. They want to hear you like, you know, they want to hear you rock and roll, or they want to hear something else.
Rock and roll like what?
Oh, well, like I don't know, kind of that whole, I don't know, that like, that kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like
Eminem Man.
Yeah, that Eminem Man kind of thing, that sticky, goofy kind of stuff. And I appreciate that, and that's why I write those kind of songs. But boy, when you do a song like that Driver song, you know, you want them to react the same way, and oftentimes they don't. And that song, to me, is more pertinent than the others, you know. It's just kind of a joke, you know. This is comfort. This is total comfort. You know, people say hello to you when you come in, and you get eggs, you get bacon, you get all this food that warms you up because the cholesterol content is like through the roof, you know. I would estimate that between the group here at this table, we've eaten. Oh, you're doing great. This is Lynn. Lynn, come here. Step in here.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, come step in here.
Oh, I don't take no pictures.
Oh, she doesn't take pictures. She doesn't take pictures. You see what I mean? Actually, had it not been for an education and reading books, I'd probably wind up marrying a woman like that. I've always thought that my ideal person course in life would be that I'd have some woman yelling at me across my house going, "What do you want for breakfast?" You know, "What do you want? You want them scattered, smothered, and covered?" Oh, I'm sorry.
Think I look horrible.
Lynn doesn't like her picture. She thinks she looks horrible, but I don't think so. She'd lean into the frame.
If I had my makeup on. Hi,
you got my Lemke on your shirt.
Hey, you got Lemke on your shirt. See?
No one there.
See? We could be husband and wife. I told you folks that earlier. I was telling you that I could see myself winding up marrying someone for the rest of my life.
Me?
Uh-huh.
I'm already married.
Well, I know that, but I was just saying it in terms of a situation, like, you know, we're talking about Waffle House, and I was telling them how I could marry a Waffle House girl.
Well, I'm not a cook, I'm not a cleaner, I do dishes.
Right.
I even know how to sew by hand.
Right. And every time I came home, you'd go, "Hello." It'd be great.
I don't know, get me mad.
Get you mad, and you might say something.
My nickname is Viper, so if that tells you.
Oh.
What's your nickname?
Viper.
Now, why did they call you Viper?
Well, I got into a fight in a pool hall with a guy and beat him up with a pool stick.
Wow.
So I had one on each arm.
You know, I don't think I can marry you. I think you're one of my family members.
No, they say kins everywhere.
There you have it.
I'm so excited to be here.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
I'm under contract. Hey, wait.
It wasn't an Indigo Girl thing. It was like just this gathering of friends, and I mean, love everybody in the cast, and we're all musicians or artists or whatever gathered from home, and so there's a special camaraderie that's particular to that production.
Fly away home.
I'd be embarrassed, you know, about being in there.
That's what I do for a living. I move honey buckets around America. I'm your honey bucket boy.
Look at all my trials and tribulations, sinking in a gentle pool of wine. Don't disturb me now, I can see the answers to this dreaming. Is this morning life is mine? Always hope that I'd be an apostle. Knew that I would make it if I tried.
I'm really lost.
Okay, well,
That's where I'm supposed to be working.
And write the gospel so they'll still talk about us when we die.
how does it feel?
Feels good, except that one of the stagehands called me the Bumblebee Man. I'm reeling from that.
This is Mark.
It's me, man.
He's my acting coach.
Later on, I'm going to be walking this. B-Mac's my spotter.
You know, life on the edge.
That's right. And it's that drop-off point of per square inch multiplied that's going to see whether or not he's flattened out at the end of our little thing. Yeah. Vic will be on my shoulders. As you can see, I had to tuck my shirt in today. Because check this out, balloon boy. Fly away, fly away, fly away home. But this is where I play my best music, right here, amongst my little things and books and my mementos of life, my Animaniacs, my M&M men, and, you know, my stuff. And, you know, it's a simple life, but, you know, for a musician, you really can't have much more than this, because you're never around to appreciate the stuff you got, because you're always out on the road, or you can't afford a lot of rent, so you live with roommates. And, you know, I'm lucky I got great roommates. I've had them for 5 years, you know, and we don't complain, you know. You guys can solve the kitchen, the camera crew, and you guys all saw the kitchen. It's kind of a mess, but, you know, when it gets too bad, somebody cleans it up, and it's just kind of it's a real democracy here. That's kind of cool. But, and I try to not play music when my roommates are on because I'm so loud. But they never have complained, you know. Not once have they said, "Oh, shut up," or "Be quiet." There's kind of a weird freedom here, you know. Even though it's a very small place, I got a lot of freedom, you know. And I don't have that when I play on stage sometimes, but I get it here.
The point of this film is to talk about us doing this independently without the support of major label help or major distribution or marketing, you know, radio support. For the most part, we do this on our own, you know. And how is that for you? How was it for Ashley and Mark as a duo, and how is it for you now as Uncle Mark Reynolds, you know, doing this thing on your own? You know, you're self-marketing, self-promoting. You've got some help with a little independent label here, run by none other than, you know, other musicians. Exactly. Another singer-songwriter, Kevin Lawson, runs that label, right?
Yeah, they just started it up too, so that's kind of cool. You know that. You know, the thing for me is, I guess, with this whole independent music thing is like that people do it because they love it at this level. They still love it. You know, I think Mick Jagger still loves it, yes, but not like Kevin Lawson or yourself or me or Matthew Kahler or Caroline Aiken, who do this because they love it. They'll spend 15 hours on the road to get to a gig because they love to play. Now, maybe they're making $1,200 at a college gig, but maybe they're making $5 and a meal and a beer. But they do it because they really love playing for 15 people. They enjoy the music. It's like 98.
That's great guitar.
Well, this guitar sounds awesome. Good sounding box. Yeah, this one sounds okay. The other one sounds great, but I couldn't get it to work through all of its junk. Well, this one was signed by Howard Finster, and he was an old artist guy up in North Georgia, and he passed on, but he played it one day, and he signed it. He wrote all over it. He said, "God loves you so much, and so do I. Love." This old Finster. That old Finster. He was 82 when he picked it up. I watched a special a while back on country music, and the old guys were talking about how they used to get in these ratty buses and travel for hours, and they'd run in each other at truck stops, and they got $10 a day. You know, granted this was the 50s, but still, they did it because they loved it, not because they were making money at it. And that's what the independent's about. Ani DeFranco, you and I have talked about 100 times. What a wonderful woman. Loves her music, loves performing, loves the people that come see her, and she's out there pushing her music out. And she's doing it right. She's not screwing anybody. She's not making a point of anything except, here's my music, here's my story, here are my words, and here are my compositions. And she presents them, and that's pretty admirable.
She lives what she sings about.
Exactly.
You know, which is another thing I think that, as far as DIY, that whole mentality of doing it yourself, that is the epitome of what it is.
Yeah.
Is living what your song's living it. Living, you know, and that sounds like it could be romanticized or easily romanticized, but it's not. It's really, that's it.
But for me,
it's not romantic at all.
No. And for me, Shawn, I think what you're getting at is the bigger picture, and that is that comes through in our performances. I think that's something that's definitely lost at the upper levels, at the upper echelons. And a few people still capture it. A few people like, let's take our friends, the Indigo Girls, that we all know, they still live their lives exactly like their words and deeds in their songs. And they live that way. They help out new people coming up. Hell, Emily's on Don Conoscenti's new album. Nobody in America knows who Don is outside of a regional support group, but Emily played on his album. Not because she was great and offered him anything, but her talent. And she liked his music.
Yeah.
Doubting Thomas, she played on their album. Amy does the same thing by putting people on her label like Gerard McHugh and Danielle Howe. I mean, all of those people, the realness, what you were saying, the realness of their lives comes through in their words and their songs and their performances. And that's very, very important.
Who wants to run into the storm? Not me. Just want to get warm. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. Who wants to run into the storm? Not me. Just want to get warm. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. And when the wind begins to roar, get them to be warm. Get them to the shelters and they'll see another day. Caution to the ones who stand against the storm. Seizing up the furies may be a fall from grace. Fall from grace. Fall from grace. Who wants to run into the storm? Not me. I just want to get warm. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. Who wants to run into the storm? Not me, I just want to get warm. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. Fall from grace. Fall from grace. Go on now.
I tell you, the thing that keeps me fascinated with these people that we deal with, you and I, that we're hanging around, that we run with, that we play music with, that we meet on the road, who are doing the same thing we're doing, is the realness. There's a realness of conviction to the music. There's a realness of conviction to this lifestyle. There's a realness of conviction to being good, treating people nice, sound men, waitresses, club owners, other musicians. There's a sense of community that goes beyond just Atlanta, just beyond Asheville. It goes all the way across the country. You can meet a songwriter from Denver and you have the same almost exact experience as they do. You're living cheap, you're running hard, and you're writing songs. And that's pretty important, and I don't know, I'm fascinated by it all, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Y'all give it up for Rich. That was awesome. Once you run into the storm, not me. Just want to get warm. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. Rock me in the cradle of your arms where I feel safe. Fall from grace. Fall from grace. Fall from grace.
By happenstance, You know, my partner Ashley, who I played with Ashley Mark so long, we played 6 years, traveled the roads together as a duo, as a band. We learned a lot about life that way, and that meaning that we learned a lot about how to treat people. You know, you learn real quick that if you're yelling at a sound guy, well, you're going to get bad sound. And not because he's bad at what he does, but because you've treated him unfairly.
Right.
So you learn that you're not going to do that anymore. But you learn it the hard way. You know, you do. But it treats you, it makes you a better person. It makes you a better human being to learn these lessons. You know, to tip out your wait staff when you're done at the evening, even if it's $1. Even if it's something to show, hey, I appreciate you bringing me a soda to the stage. Or I appreciate you telling your 5 friends to come see me because you saw me last time.
I wrote this song for a guy who will be here on Sunday. His name's Larry John Wilson, and this is how I felt that night watching him play his music. He didn't need any more in the monitor just to hear himself sing. He didn't need a pick or a capo. He didn't need anything. He just came to sing. And he sang. And he sang of his children, man, how he loved them kids. And he sang of all the things to be forgiven and all the things that he did. And I believe that I did them. He was the real deal, man. Storyteller came to town. Storyteller had arrived. Ain't no lie. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Said nobody looked to the left. Nobody looked to the right. Nobody even dared to move in the chairs that night. And he sang. And he sang. And he sang of the beautiful losers. And he sang of the terrified souls. And he sang of the perils of living, Lord. And he sang of the joys. And he sang. And he sang. The storyteller came to town. The storyteller had arrived. Ain't no lie. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. And he sang of the beautiful losers. And he sang of the terrified souls. And he sang of the perils of living, Lord. And he sang of the joys. And he sang. And he sang. The storyteller came to town. The storyteller had arrived. Ain't no lie. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Sang of the beautiful losers. And he sang of the terrified souls. And he sang of the perils of living, Lord. And he sang of the joys. And he sang. storyteller came to town. The storyteller had arrived. Ain't no lie. I saw it with my own two eyes. I saw it with my own two eyes. My own eyes. My own eyes. Thank y'all.
That was a good learning experience, and it was hard, you know, especially for Ashley. I don't mean to say being a woman, but, you know, it's very hard, you know, when you're traveling with males. She's a female, and she's running with 4 males on the road, and we're all grimy and dirty and, you know, talking about things that she can't necessarily relate to. It was hard on her, and then it was hard on us from the other way of, you know, constantly being out there, girlfriends going by the wayside, a lifestyle going by the wayside, and it gets hard, but you have to, like anything else in the world, you have to commit. You have to commit to it, and I think that's what just enamors me to all of these people we know, yourself, me, everyone, that they're committed to the lifestyle of creating art. And boy, you can't get anything more admirable than that in my book. You just can't. You know, that's the highest form of commitment, is to commit to something that's intangible, unwritten, unsung, undone. It's just an idea, and when you commit to something like that, you're a true believer, and that's what I see singer-songwriter in America as. They're the true believers. They're the true believers in morality, spiritualism, sensibility, sensitivity, creativity, art, politics. They're the real committed ones because they're living, and they're committed to that lifestyle. It's a political season, and I have aspirations. I'm the 10th Democrat. Anyway, this is what I have to say about that. I want to fight a war for democracy. I want to get my face on the MTV. 'Cause the future of party partisans is in the kids. And I'll veto all the bills you need. I'll distract you while you suffer and bleed. I'll write a book one day and tell you what I did. Wanna be a president, see how much money can be spent. Wanna show the folks back home I really care. I wanna tell them about the new bomb, how it'll way outdo the old one. I wanna be a president, and I promise not to promise you what I promise not to promise to you what I promise not to promise you. And I'll fight with Congress till I'm dead and dying, and even though I'm stagnant, I'm somehow trying. And when I'm done, you won't even know that you got screwed. And I'll probably get bad reviews from the press. They'll say I left everything in a mess. But they can't prove a thing without the tapes. They'll say like Pilate, I wash my hands. They'll crucify me in together band. But I've got a dream. Wanna be a president, see how much money can be spent. Wanna show the folks back home I really care. I wanna tell them about the new bomb, it'll way outdo the old one. I wanna be a president. I wanna be a president. Won't you vote for me for president?
This is our friend Ashley Wilson. You folks are helping us sort of make a miracle come true. September the 22nd, Uncle had a massive heart attack, and he's gonna do some procedures in March, another echo, and the cardiologist will determine then sort of where to go from there, what the next step might be. It's really a miracle that he's here with us today, and there's no one prouder than me that he's sitting here. He's a dear friend. He worked here from day one when Marty Brennan and I had this crazy idea to try to open a folk club and actually make it be a business 7 years ago. He was here from very, very, very day one, and has been one of my hugest supporters, great support that he's given me, not only as being a part of Eddie's Attic, but he's probably my best friend, and I'm very proud that he's sitting here, and I'm very proud of you for helping us do this. We're probably, if we're very successful this weekend, hoping to get him back sort of to almost zero, which is a good place to be. That's a great place to be. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Ashley and Mark, y'all.
Tonight the bottle let me down.
More vocal, please.
And let your memory come around.
The one her true friend thought I found.
Tonight the bottle let me down.
See, I'm from Snellville. And we do things a little differently out in Snellville. Wait a minute. Oh, that's right, okay. I always found a bottle I could turn to. It's been a really long time. And lately I've been turning every day. But the wine don't take effect the way it used to. I'm hurting in love.
Tonight the bottle let me down. And let your memory come around.
The one her true friend I thought I found.
Tonight the bottle let me down.
Go away, little girl. This is a medley. Go away, little girl. I'm not supposed to be alone with you. I know that your lips are sweet, but our lips must never meet. I'm dating somebody else. I must be true. You've stopped smoking. I haven't. yet. So go away, little girl.
Ah.
Go away, little girl.
Ah.
It's hurting me more each minute that we delay. But when you're like this, you're much too hard to You're just jealous because you're not allowed to do that anymore. So go away, little girl, before I should be really nice. Beg you to stay. I always leave the barroom when it's over. Not feeling any pain, closing time. But tonight your memory found me much too sober. I can't drink enough to keep you off my mind.
Tonight the bottle let me down, and let your memory come around.
What a true friend I thought I found.
Tonight the bottle let me down. Tonight the bottle
Let me down.
Well, my father was way ahead of his time because now people want the bathtubs with the feet on them. They want them in their houses. It's retro. It's cool. Well, 1976, nobody had any money. You know, gas shortages, you know, whip inflation now. You know, Ford was in office. It was terrible. My father decides he's going to get rich on bathtubs, so he bought a little truck, a little Dodge truck. It looks like a van that's been cut off, but they were actually made to look like that. And so he'd pack us up every Saturday morning, and we would go bathtub hunting. And he'd buy these beautiful old enamel tubs, dirt cheap, and then we'd re-enamel them and fix them up and paint them in our house. And my father thought, well, this is going to be great. People buy them for their houses, you know. So we had like one, and we had two, and they sat in the backyard, and my father was in the army, so he got all these ponchos to put over top of them to protect them. So months went by, summer went by, we collected all these tubs that were beautiful. Old man did a great job at it. The enamel was perfect, no chips, painted, beautiful. If they were brass, we brassed them down, they were gorgeous. But we had like 20 of them in our backyard in Arlington, Virginia on a major route. People would come by there like from school. We get off school, everybody let out by our house. And we became known as the bathtub children, and people would make fun of us like, yeah, I bet you guys never have to worry about being clean. You know, and what is your family? Remember, your family must stink. You got a tub for everybody, huh? And needless to say, ensued fights, you know, defending my honor, you know, defending my father. So, you know, finally my mother got mad.
And my mother's a great lady because she never really says anything until she really means it. There's no extraneous speaking. One day she went to my father and she said, "Walt, the tub's got to go, period." My father knew. So we had like a run on tubs at the house, and people were coming, they were dirt cheap. Anyway, my father broke even on the tubs. He never made a penny on the tubs after all that work and everything else. And one day, it was about 2 weeks after we'd sold the last one, me and my mother were standing on our back porch, and it was screened in, and we're looking out over our little yard, which then was huge, but now it seems so small to me. And there were all these little yellow spots in the yard. And I stood there with my mom, and she was just looking out, shaking her head, and it dawned on me that we really were the bathtub people. We really were my father's bathtub children, and all these yellow spots on the lawn. It just kills me. Every time I think of that, I think of that boat in our backyard, and I think that boat is the same thing as those damn tubs. It just sits there, makes a yellow spot, and then it's going to be gone. But, it's funny stuff.
Thanks for having me here. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Let me tell you about my story. Let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Let me tell you about my story. Let me sing it best I can. Middle. Hey, diddle, diddle. Uncle Mark Reynolds and his fiddle. Jumping up over the moon. I wanna be, I wanna be, I wanna be. Yo, I wanna be.
This is something about my father. The reason we were always around animals is because my father has an incredible love for animals. In fact, my whole life, I've known my father kind of be like a Dr. Walt medicine man, you know, for animals. He'd make salves, like he'd find them along the roadside. And even when we were little, he would find them hurt or whatever. He'd bring them home and he'd fix them, which is so admirable. And I love him. He still does it. He'd make salves and he'd heal these dogs and put his hand right on the mangy part of the dog, you know, he had no fear. He just wanted to see these animals be better. He loved them. Well, these goats, he'd heard about them, had been abused. There's 3 of them. 2 little brown goats and this other little ugly goat. My father always had this thing about bringing home 1 ugly animal out of a set of animals. You know, if he'd bring home 2 beautiful dogs and then 1 ugly, really scroungy dog. And we always wound up keeping the really ugly ones. The nice ones would get gone. But so he went and he got these goats, and they were abused by the people who had them, and they had been dehorned by like, you know, horrible methods, and just they were abused. They loved my father. They became like his pets, and they would follow him everywhere. But goats are nasty, cantankerous, unreasonable animals. They don't know any rules. They run where they want. They do whatever they want. And they go to the bathroom everywhere, and it's little tiny balls. It's just little tiny teeny balls everywhere. So my father sold them off, and he kept the little milk-eyed, weird-looking goat. Well, that goat became like my father's pet. Well, one day, his name was George. My father named him George for some reason. I don't know why. And George went blind first. He came down with some sort of goat sickness and he went blind. But he knew my father's voice, and my father would call George and he would come. Well, I guess it was a couple of months later, George wandered off into the wandered off in the woods and passed away. And I never really had ever seen my father get upset over one of the animals, but he loved that old goat so much. And it was always kind of an irony to me that it'd be 2 old goats. You know, it was 2 old goats. My old man, my father, the old goat, and he was so in love with this little old goat. But he found him one day. He was out hunting, and he saw his remains laying over there. And this was quite some time later. It was quite decomposed, but he found old George and he buried him, gave him a nice burial. I reckon he built him a little tombstone. I suppose that's still there somewhere out in Middle Virginia somewhere.
I have heard the bell tolling. For me it has rung twice. Nearly cast me all my chips in one. Rolling out the gambler's loaded die. Now I laugh and you laugh at me, 'cause I cried and cried and on. Bid my soul in a water hole, watch the girl of this song. Faith, fatigue, and fear soak me to the bone. Storm of deadly thunder, lightning sends a signal home. I'm going down to the river. I'm going down to the river, but I will not cross over. I'm going down to the river. I'm going down to the river, but I will not cross over. Now I've been led to thirst. I resisted, tasting muddy trash rather than drink. Tried to walk across that rainbow bridge, breaking through and falling to the rocks below. Now I see the light that only darkness brings, calling my soul the bone. Storm of deadly thunder, lightning sends a signal. I'm going down to the river. I'm going down to the river, but I not cross over like you go. I'm going down to the river. I'm going down to the river, but I not cross over like you go. I wanna see a sunrise. I wanna see a sunset. I wanna tell you, I wanna hold her in her hand while I'm here. I wanna tell you I love you. There ain't nothing I but you wanna sing it out. I wanna sing it out. I wanna sing it out one more, sing it out one more. I'm going down to the river. I'm going down to the river, but I will not cross over, 'cause I ain't ready to go. I ain't ready to go. I ain't ready to go.
This is the Atlanta Campfire. Atlanta Campfire was conceived as an idea for this folk festival out in Texas, out near Kerrville, Texas. It's a really an old, long-established festival that focuses on songwriting, and the producer, his name is Rod Kennedy. He's quite a character. And Rod came to Atlanta for my Beneath Your Moon CD release party, and he said, "Now that's how a CD release thing should be done." He was pretty blown away by the whole spirit of the community, of music community here in Eddie's Attic and everything else. And he got to hear Shawn Mullins that weekend and Caroline Aiken and come to my show. And so he went back to Texas and he said, "Why don't you put together a little songwriting group of people and bring them out to the festival, and we'll showcase some Atlanta music for everybody." And then well, that's what we did, and this was the lineup. And we have a guest camper tonight. David LaBruyerre is going to sit in on bass a little bit. Would you make it feel welcome? I'd like to kick it off with Uncle Mark Reynolds.
Me and you went to make so same hotel. Cross the border, another outpost. Freedom's landmark and seeking sensation. It was borderline heaven, color cable TV. Trying to find, making us dream. Hold on your deep breath, touch the blue sky. It's not always what you want it seems to be. In the winding roads over the mountain, runs through our souls, common thread. Smell the outside, deep down inside. Forward isn't always straight ahead. Highway, carry me as far I'm supposed to go. Highway, carry me as far as I'm supposed to go. Only you know, highway, 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 carry me, highway, carry me, as far as I'm supposed to go. Yeah. Oh, you know, highway, 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 yeah. I'm a joker, I'm a toker, I'm a night smoker. She'd been drinking. I don't drink anymore. It's kind of a good thing because I just don't. But anyway, she was hammered. And she pulled all this stuff out from under her bed, and she started reading me love letters from her old lovers, but like laughing and making comments about them, just like at random. She was drunk, you know. Drinking is the ultimate truth serum. If you ever want to keep a secret, do not drink. So I was just playing along. I was like playing amateur psychologist. I was like, oh yeah, well, and what else did she do? What else did she do? And she'd be like, oh, this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. So anyway, I thought if it were me and I was somewhere and I knew that she was doing that, I would be really, really pissed. So I wrote this song for all those people. And it's called Box of Letters. I don't want you reading what I wrote to someone new, rolling your eyes and saying you don't know what came over you. I don't want my words looking like a tombstone in the dusty bin of lovers long done gone, folded small and hiding here beneath the lamp. Never put in a mail with a stamp.
Yeah, so the goats, and then that was really his last effort at getting rich off farming. And then he just settled into fishing, and he hunts, but he hunts reasonably. He hunts with a single-shot shotgun. You know, he does it like real classy. Gets mad when the hunters in Virginia, they all use dogs and trucks and radios, and they're tracking, you know, war criminals or something. And my father has written letters to the papers saying, you know, I think this is sick that these people ride around in trucks and drink beer and have firearms and stuff like that, when hunting's supposed to be one person, one weapon. You know, it's supposed to be a sport to it, and it infuriates him. And so he's become almost kind of like a madman around the local area up there for not condoning all these bad behaviors, and I kind of respect him for that.
On September the 22nd last year, this man behind me suffered a massive heart attack. On September the 25th, Dr. Alexander Justice, with his permission, asked Amy Balbier and Molly McGoldrick and I to step into a room. They told us to call his family, get his shit in order. I called my attorney, we did a living will, we had the power of attorney signed over, we were ready. Well, you know what? The sumbitch is still standing. There was a guy in the 5th century BC, his name was St. Irenaeus, and he said, the glory of God is man fully alive. Whether you believe in God or whether you believe in whatever you believe in, you know, none of that even matters. What matters is love and us and the experience, and that there's a lot of life to experience, and most of us experience very little of it. Well, Sugar Pop Pete, this is life and this is experience. Please welcome the Wagon Wheel.
Don't know why I'm trying, been trying so long. Still I'm far away from my home. Can't get past me working my fingers to the bone. Still I'm far away from my home. Same old roads I'm running, everything's the same. Same old bars to tie one on, help choke back the pain. Can't see past tomorrow, 'cause tomorrow never comes. Still I'm far away from my home. Same old love is haunting me, it won't leave me alone. Still I'm far away from my home. It's been a really hard time, and I can't lie to you, I've been scared to death, and that's from a guy that probably wasn't afraid of his own shadow a day in his life, but I was really afraid, and I stand here and tell you that I'm humbled by it all, but I'm moved and touched by the love that I've been shown, and I will never, ever, ever forget it. And I hope in 10 years I can see you and I'm sitting over at that bar and I'm still not smoking and still not drinking and still eating my Caesar salads, and that's what I really want. I want to make you proud of me, and I don't know if you ever had somebody work real hard for that, but you're kind of obligated now, so I'm going to work my ass off for you. And thank you much here. I appreciate it. That's all I have to say.
Another day, another dollar. Can't you feel the stress I'm in you? I'm sorry for things done to the pawn shop. I'm sorry for things done to the loan man. Went along with me, walking every step until the pain was too much. I will not hold you here to suffer. I will not hold you here against your will. Long distance phone calls, late night, trying to keep a straining love alive. I'm sorry for the nights on the road, yeah. I'm sorry for the nights you spent alone. Another time, another lover. Maybe it'll be better for you there. No arguments, no great frustrations. No, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry anymore. Remember me somewhere in your life. Promise you will not forget it. I turn the clock back, change the face of time.
Thank you again. This has all been very, very, very wonderful for me, beyond words, and I don't want to overtalk it, but I'll just say that it's probably be the single most healing set of days I've ever spent in my whole life, and that includes my doctor, Dr. Ballard, working on me for about a month ago. This hour up here with these guys has probably been the single best medicine I could have taken, and I'm glad that Kristian sent me a card in the hospital and allowed me to tell him how much I loved him back. I'm glad Andrew called me on the phone one morning and woke me up from a dead sleep.
You gotta watch those jokes, Mark.
And I couldn't be happier for all of this. It's very cool, and I thank them for reaching out. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Little water silver, bring me little water now. Bring me little water silver, every little once in a while. Bring it in a bucket, silver. Bring it in a bucket now. Bring it in a bucket, silver. Every little once in a while. Sylvie, come running. Sylvie, coming now. Sylvie, come running. Every little once in a while. Sylvie, come running. Sylvie, come running now. Sylvie, come running. Every little once in a while. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Bring it in a bucket, Sylvie. Bring it in a bucket now. Bring it in a bucket, Sylvie. Every little once in a while. Sylvie, running,
but always working on the new stuff for me, you know, constantly working on the new piece, looking for the new idea, trying to be on my own cutting edge, not anyone else's, but on my own.
I can see her walking into the room, it was early September. Hair bleached from the summer sun, oh how I remember. I asked her name, said money return. Now all these years later, I can still feel it burn and burn and burn. And that was the first time I was in love, I was in love. Maybe the only time I was in love. Then I saw her back in 78. We were there about to graduate. She said, I'm going off to school. Don't you know I'm so afraid? I said, me, I'm going off to live like a gypsy on the wind. I'll come back one day and show you where I've been. And that was the first time I was in love, I was in love. Maybe the only time I was in love. 20 years ago, what did I know then? 20 years ago, what did I know then? How much more do I know now? Then I saw her back in 88. She didn't even hesitate. She said, you look good for a gypsy. I said, I've lost my hair and gained some weight. She said, well, I work in a building downtown. 9 to 5, rush home to those kids. Men rehab and kick the bottle. Got a marriage on the skid. She said, you remember me walking into that room? It was early September. Yeah, bleached from the summer sun. Oh, how I remember. And that was the first time I was in love, I was in love. Maybe the only time I was in love. 20 years ago, what did I know then? 20 years ago, what did I know then? And how much more, how much more, how much more do I know now? I can see her walking into the room. I remember, I remember.
Perfecto.
Well, let me just say thank you all very much for everything. I mean, a lot of you sent cards and made calls and sent word and white light and prayers, and for all of you that ever thought about me once during all this, I'm going to tell you that it helped heal me, and that I know that sounds very hokey when we say it in terms of just saying it every day and day to day, but I have to tell you that I really believe that. I felt it there then, and I certainly have felt it since, that something beyond me and my thing and the doctors has healed me to this point. And I have to believe it's the power of people and positive thinking. And I just wanted to say thank you. And there are moments where that sounds just not enough. But I tell you this, that it's all I can say. But beyond that, it's 1,000 million fold for me to you. So just thank you very much, and thanks for coming. And I'm just damn glad to be here. So I wrote this song for a friend of mine, and Ash came and sang on the Hammer Some album with me. She writes letters to the prisoners, former friends, now in the pen. Her family's crying, withholding life. In the end, it'll end, but by degrees, mercury squeeze, frustration, anger, see bloody red, hell on her soul, here in this life, take her back when she I got one love, I got one and all. If you're gonna let another angel into heaven, like to be the one. Nominates the one that ought to go. She sleeps in houses half completed, empty shells of what will be. They'll lay their heads over there, but they will never think of me. Oh, my grace, out of this place, shine a light in her space, a long dark veil. Here in this life, take her home, show her face. If you're gonna let another angel into heaven, I got one love. I got one and on and on. If you're gonna let another angel into heaven, I'd like to be the one. Nominates the one that ought to go. If you're gonna let another angel into heaven, I'd like to be the one that nominates the one
that ought to go. Well, then you already know. Yeah, you already know.
Thank you.
Roll me up and throw me when I die, when I die. Roll me up and throw me when I die. Well, it can be tobacco, Rick get you high. Just roll me up and throw me when I die. Here we go. Roll me up and throw me when I die. Roll me up and throw me when I die. Well, it can be tobacco, Rick get you high. Just roll me up and throw me when I die. One more. Just roll me up and throw me when I die. Big thing.